Now, the greatest radio shows of all time.
Suspense.
The Shadow Node.
Washington calling David Harding, counter-spy.
Classic radio theater.
The Great Gildersleeve.
Fibber McGee and Molly.
Dragnet. Gunsmoke.
The Lone Ranger.
Now, step back into our time machine with your host, Wyatt Cox.
Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum.
Lew-ayres and Lionel-Barrymore in an episode of the story of Dr. Kildare, going back to September 28, 1950, an episode about a father who's having his first baby. Well, the father's not, the mother is, but it's all real, it's one of those, nervous father things.
The story of Dr. Kildare.
Whatsoever house I enter, there will I go for the benefit of the sick. Or whatsoever things I see or hear concerning the life of men, I will keep silence thereon, counting such things to be held as sacred trust. I will exercise my art solely for
The story of Dr. Kildare, starring Lew-ayres and Lionel-Barrymore. Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer brought you those famous motion pictures. Now this exciting, heartwarming series is heard on radio. Now, the story of Dr. Kildare, starring Lew-ayres as Dr. Kildare and Lionel-Barrymore as Dr. Gillespie.
Blair General Hospital, one of the great citadels of American medicine. Clump of gray-white buildings planted deep in the heart of New York, the nerve center of medical progress, where great minds and skilled hands wage man's everlasting battle against death and disease. Blair General Hospital, where life begins, where life ends, where life goes on.
Jimmy, I have been sitting here for the last half hour considering the matter from every possible angle, and I can see only one conclusion.
Conclusion? Matter? What are you talking about?
Oh, Jimmy, put that book down, please. Now, you have reached an age when you ought to start thinking about settling down.
Oh, yes, so that's it.
You ought to find some attractive young girl and get married.
Well, let's see. It's 10:30 now. Who could I call up and ask?
Oh, I don't mean tonight.
Tomorrow, then?
Oh, no, confound it. You know perfectly well what I mean. You ought to start thinking about it.
All right, Dr. Gillespie.
Huh? Well, what are you sitting there looking like a sick fish for?
I'm thinking about it.
Oh, stuff.
Look, you wouldn't have some particular person in mind, would you?
Why, of course not. Well, I've never tried to run your life, have I, Jimmy?
No. You lean over backward.
Well, maybe. However, I have been noticing that little nurse on the 4th floor. Miss Verner, I believe her name is.
Why, Doctor, at your age...
Oh, I mean, I've been noticing her for you.
Oh, for me.
Well, confound it, Jimmy, now I'm serious.
Dr. Gillespie, there's a madman downstairs.
There's one up here, too.
Oh, stop blowing your siren, Parker. What's the trouble?
I just told you. It's a madman, and he's down at the receiving desk, and he came in a taxi, and he just phoned up here, and he wants a doctor, and his name's Mumpkin, and his wife's with him.
Mumpkin? Oh, wait a second. Is that Willie Mumpkin?
That's right, Dr. Kildare. His name's Willie, and his wife's going to have a baby any minute.
Well, if she is, I'm crazy. I just examined her 2 days ago.
Oh, she's a patient of yours, huh?
Yes, and she isn't due here for at least 3 weeks yet. I can't understand what this...
Hey, doctor.
Here he comes.
I need a doctor. Where can I find me a doctor? Oh, there you are.
Willie, what's all the trouble?
No time to talk. Just grab a bag and come on, doctor. They're taking her up in the elevator now. I haven't got a minute to lose.
Why not?
Why not? Well, you know why not. Because Betty Jane's going to have a baby.
Next couple of weeks, maybe. I'm talking about tonight.
That's what I mean, tonight. Any minute now. Maybe we're too late already. Come on, she's got pains all across here, and I had a heck of a time.
Mr. Mumpkin, what did your wife have for dinner this evening?
Dinner? Dinner? Well, why, some fried shrimp and a couple of pork chops and fried potatoes, dill pickle, pistachio ice cream, strawberries. Well, what are you laughing at?
Willie, we think the only thing Betty Jane is going to have tonight is a case of indigestion. Come on, let's go have a look at her.
But Dr. Kildare, I thought she was... Well, when she... I don't know anything about these things.
Parker, that boy ought to be married.
Oh, yes, Dr. Gillespie. I think every young couple ought to...
Oh, confound it. I'm talking about Kildare, you idiot.
Good morning, Dr. Gillespie.
Well, good morning, Jimmy. Miss Verner and I were just talking about you.
Verner? Oh, hello, Diana. I didn't see you.
We were just talking about that young man who came rushing in here with his wife last night.
Oh, they're quite a couple. Come from some little farm town in Indiana. Willie's father runs the local newspaper, and Willie's here taking a course in advertising or something. They've only been married about a year.
Well, I think it's just darling. The way he was so upset and excited and everything.
Oh, yes, he's very serious about his approaching fatherhood.
And he should be, Jimmy. He should be. Marriage is a great institution.
Oh, I agree with you, Doctor. I think every family ought to have one.
The door's unlocked. Come in.
Thank you, Dr. Gillespie. It is proper, you know, that one knocks before entering a room.
Entirely unnecessary in your case, Carew. I can smell your gardenia 20 feet away.
Please, not in front of... well, that is, we must remember our discipline, you know.
Dr. Gillespie, I believe I'd better take those reports now, if you're through with them.
Wait a second, Miss Verner. I'll get rid of this fella. Carew, what's on your mind?
My business is with Dr. Kildare, if it's quite all right with you, of course.
Well, come on, then. Come on and get it over with.
Oh, dear.
What sort of business is it, Dr. Carew?
It's one of your patients, Dr. Kildare, a Mr. Lumpkin.
Oh, Willie.
He's creating a disturbance on the 7th floor. Has been all morning, and no one can do a thing with him.
What's he doing here, anyway? There are no visiting hours this time of the morning.
Precisely the message I sent him, Dr. Gillespie, and he told the nurse to tell me that I could... Well, I wouldn't care to sully myself by repeating his remark.
Hooray for Willie.
Dr. Gillespie, I... Oh, dear, I must run along. If I stay here another minute, I'll be ruined for the entire day. Utterly ruined. Dr. Kildare, I leave the matter entirely in your hands.
You got him so flustered he didn't even say what this disturbance is. Well, I guess I'd better go see what...
I'll take care of it. Jimmy, I'll be glad to. You stay right here now and talk to what in tarnation's happened to her?
Oh, she left. No interest in therapeutic romance, I guess.
A great horn spoon.
Come on, Cupid. Let's go talk to Willie.
Doggone it, Dr. Kildare. We're not playing the 1812 overture on this record machine just to entertain ourselves. We've got a purpose.
Purpose?
Willie, would that purpose have anything to do with this book on the theory of relativity?
Well, sure. I've been reading it out loud to Betty Jane. You see, we want him to have the right kind of a brain.
Oh, prenatal influence, eh?
Yeah.
Well, of course, I don't actually believe in it, Dr. Kildare, but, well, Willie figures there's no harm in trying.
Oh, I guess there isn't. Only how about using a low-volume influence? The superintendent's complaining about the noise.
Well, maybe it was a little loud.
Oh, and another thing, Willie. No guests in the room, please, except at visiting hours.
But gosh, Betty Jane's gonna have a baby. She needs me.
For what?
Willie, if you're going to live here at the hospital, you'll have to make your headquarters in one of the lounges.
Okay. Now, honey, you send for me if anything happens.
All right, Willie.
And if they don't come for me, you yell.
All right, Willie.
I'll be back later, Betty Jane.
Oh, gosh, I still can't imagine her about to be a mother.
Then you better get ready for a shock.
But she's so young. Of course, I'm 21, but Betty Jane's still just a kid.
Well, she'll grow out of that. You were young once, too, you know.
Willie, as an experienced husband and a prospective father, what's your opinion of marriage in general?
Oh, it's great, Dr. Gillespie. Terrific. I wouldn't have it any other way.
And you'd advise every young man who's still single to get married. Is that right?
Oh, sure. There's nothing like it.
Yep, you see, Kildare, it's just like I've been telling you now. Now, where the tarnation did he go?
All right. Kildare speaking.
Doctor, this is Willie Mumpkin.
Oh, what is it, Willie?
Doc, I gotta see you right away.
Why, at 2 a.m.? What's the matter?
It's something I just found out in a book, something we forgot about.
Forgot?
We haven't got a minute to spare. Maybe it's even too late already.
Willie, what on earth are you talking about?
It's the RH factor, Dr. Kildare.
Oh,
Maybe Betty and me are one of those rare couples that shouldn't have gotten married. Maybe our blood is incompatible. Maybe our son won't live.
Willie, hold it a second, please. Look, I checked the RH factor when your wife first came to me 7 months ago.
Oh, you did?
Yes.
Well, was it all right?
Yes. Supposing it weren't, what would you do about it now?
Well, I don't know, but I just read about it in one of these books.
Where are you, anyway?
Down in the lounge. I've been sleeping on a sofa.
Well, go back to sleep, then. You've got plenty of time. Couple of days or so.
Yeah. Well, I guess I'll just read some more of these books here.
A great idea, Willie. You do that.
Good night. I don't see any reason why these reports have to be made out tonight, Dr. Gillespie. They're not due for another week yet.
Well, it's always a good idea to get 'em done ahead of time, Jimmy. Now, I've had Miss Vernon assigned to help you, and you can use this private office here.
But it's nearly midnight.
Oh, don't worry about me as far as the time is concerned, Dr. Kildare. I'd be on floor duty anyway.
Oh, I know, Diana, but I don't think you understand the sly schemings of this man's mind.
Dr. Gillespie? Oh, it doesn't take an X-ray to see through him.
Then it's all settled. You go right on in there now. It's nice and quiet, and you won't be bothered.
No, I'm sure we won't.
Shouldn't take over an hour or two. Then maybe you could have a sandwich or something over at Sullivan's. Or go dancing, maybe. It'll be early enough.
But I'm still on duty, Dr. Gillespie.
Don't worry, Miss Verna. I'll take care of everything.
Yes, up to and including the final bless you, my children.
Oh, now, Jimmy, I am merely trying to get certain necessary work done in the most efficient manner I can.
Oh, there you are.
Well, Parker, what do you want?
Nothing from you. Dr. Kildare, the confinement ward just called. They're sending a patient of yours to the delivery room.
Oh, well, I was...
Can't you see Kildare's busy? I'll take care of this thing.
You'll take care of it. Dr. Gillespie, this is an OB case, and you haven't delivered a baby in 14 years.
Well, I'll get somebody.
Parker, it isn't that young Mrs. Mumpkin, is it?
That's right, Dr. Kildare. You missed your guess by about 8 hours.
Oh, it seems. Well, I've got to get to work. Diana, I guess you may as well go back on floor duty.
Very well, Doctor.
No, Jimmy, let's work this thing out somewhere. I'll send one of the interns.
No sale, Doctor. This one's on me. Oh, by the way, where's Willie? I thought he'd be war-whooping in the corridors when this finally happened.
Oh, he's out there in the lounge, Dr. Kildare, sound asleep. Shall I wake him?
Oh, good heavens, no. With all those books he's read, he'd probably want to hang over my shoulder and tell me what I was doing wrong. Well, I've got a date with the store. See you later.
Now, wait a minute, Jimmy. Wait a minute. Confounded young scatterbrain.
Oh, pooh. You're just mad because he's independent and won't take orders.
Take orders? Help me. I'll get that boy married if I have to...
Marry him yourself?
Oh, shut up.
We return to the story of Dr. Kildare in just a moment.
September 28, 1950, lew-ayres, Lionel-Barrymore, The Story of Dr. Kildare on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, more of The Story of Dr. Kildare, September 28, 1950.
Now we continue with the story of Dr. Kildare, starring lew-ayres as Dr. Kildare and Lionel-Barrymore as Dr. Gillespie.
I'm sorry, Mr. Mumpkin, but it wouldn't have done a bit of good if they had waked you. There are times, you know, when a man is entirely superfluous.
Well, maybe so, but at least I'd know what was happening. How do I know what's going on in there?
Well, if I thought it'd make you feel any better, I'd tell you.
And another thing, Parker. I've been reading up on this kind of stuff, and I wanted to make sure everything was done right.
Yes. I think that's exactly what Dr. Kildare was afraid of. Now, why don't you sit down there?
Sit down? How can I sit down when I'm going through this? You don't know. You've never been a father.
No, you certainly won't get any argument on that.
Well, the way I figure it, a man's got special rights when he's having a baby.
Definitely, Mr. Mumpkin. His wife, for instance, should be out giving away cigars instead of loafing in bed.
Well, I mean, of course, it's Betty Jane who's having the baby, but after all, what do you suppose they're doing in there so long?
I don't know. Maybe it's twins.
Oh, no, don't say that. Don't even think it.
What's thinking got to do with it? Oh, well, here comes Dr. Kildare.
Well, then it's over. I mean, is it, Doctor?
Yes, it's over, Willie. You can uncross your fingers now.
How's Betty Jane?
Fine. They'll have her back in her room in 10 or 15 minutes. You can go down and wait for her if you like.
Oh, gosh, I gotta sit down a minute.
But do that.
Yeah. Oh, boy. Hey, where's the baby?
In charge of the maternity nurse at the moment. And no visitors before tomorrow morning.
All right, but I've been wondering about something I read in one of those books.
Oh?
Well, the way I get it, you put a whole bunch of babies all together in the same room.
And what's to keep them from getting mixed up? Is that it?
Well, I sure don't want somebody else's. I want mine.
And for better or worse, Willie, that's exactly what you'll get. We've already taken footprints. There won't be any mix-up.
Well, good. I was afraid you might forget.
Oh, yes, we're continually misplacing children around the hospital here.
Oh, boy, just wait till you hear about this back home. Just wait till Betty Jane's mother hears about it.
Well, I doubt if it'll be a great surprise to her.
No, but she's always treated me like a kid. Hey, what am I doing here? I want to see my wife.
Oh, by the way, Willie.
Huh?
Wouldn't you like to know what kind it is?
Kind? Why, it's a boy, isn't it?
Mm-mm.
A girl?
What else is there?
Oh, well, at least it's a baby and it's here. That's the important thing.
Sure. And better luck next year.
Next year? Look, Dr. Kildare, you don't think I'm ever going to go through with a thing like this again, do you?
There's no question about it, Jimmy. The best time of day around a hospital is after 10 o'clock in the evening.
Well, could be.
No doubt of it. Just listen. Everything quiet and peaceful. It's a time for leaning back and taking stock of things.
All right, Doctor.
And for considering the past. For planning the future.
And for getting ready to lead up to something.
I don't know what you're talking about.
No, it's not anything. Just falling in with your mood.
Jimmy, we are not getting any younger, you know.
Yes, I can feel a certain profundity in that statement.
Time seems to be slipping away from us.
So it does. Maybe we'd better make out those reports before it's too late.
Reports? Oh, well, yeah, I was coming to that.
Yes, I thought you were.
As a matter of fact, I thought you might want to get him out of the way tonight.
I'm glad to.
Yeah. Someone here to help you. I just phoned a few minutes ago.
Now I wonder who that could be. As if I didn't know.
Ah, confound it, Jimmy. She's a very attractive girl.
I agree.
And it's time you were settling down with a wife.
Well, when I do, Dr. Gillespie, it won't be on your diagnosis or your prescription.
Ah, Jimmy, now that hurts me. That really hurts me.
Yes.
Why, I wouldn't think of trying to run your life for you. I wouldn't think of trying to prescribe any particular kind of...
Well, Doctor?
Now, Jimmy, be nice to her. Don't jump to conclusions. Look her over.
All right, sure.
Come in, Miss Verna.
Miss Verna?
Hello, Willie. Come on in.
I sure hate to bust in this time of night, and I guess you were expecting somebody else, but I got to talk to you about something pretty terrible.
No? What's the trouble now?
Well, it's this snapshot of the baby. I got a candid camera, you see, and I've been sneaking up to the nursery with it.
Good picture.
Yeah, but look at the face, Dr. Kildare.
What do you mean?
Well, she don't look like me, and she don't look like Betty Jane. In fact, she's a dead ringer for a great aunt of mine that's, well, daffy. I mean, she's not real crazy, but...
Willie, all babies look that way for the first few weeks. Now, please, go to bed and stop worrying.
Well, if you say so, Dr. Kildare. But gosh, when I saw that face,
Good night, Willie. Good night.
Good night, Dr. Gillespie. Good night.
Good night.
One thing about this place, after 10 in the evening, it's always so quiet and peaceful.
Yes, young idiot.
No. He's a family man with worries and responsibilities. He's married.
I don't care whether he's married or... All right, Jimmy, all right. You promised to keep an open mind.
It's wide open.
Come in, Miss Verna.
I am not Miss Verna.
Carew.
Precisely.
Well, what do you want?
Well, I could say a little more respect, Dr. Gillespie.
Yeah.
Barrymore did that so well. September 28, 1950, The Story of Dr. Kildare. The conclusion next on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, the conclusion of The Story of Dr. Kildare, lew-ayres, Lionel-Barrymore, September 28, 1950.
Please, Dr. Kildare, you must positively do something about this Mumpkin person.
Oh, what's he been up to now?
Oh, merely his usual career of menace. He's been firing some kind of flash gun in the nursery, scaring babies half out of their wits.
No, yes, he was taking pictures.
It doesn't matter what he was doing, Dr. Kildare. We simply cannot have that sort of thing, and you know it.
All right, Carew, you've spilled it. Now, good night.
Dr. Gillespie.
We'll take care of it in the morning.
As a matter of fact, I think I'd better speak to Willie tonight.
Jimmy.
No telling what he might do before morning. Come on, Dr. Carew. I'll walk out to the elevator with you.
Fine.
Kildare, come back here. Those reports, you know, Kildare. Confounded tarnation. I never saw such a stubborn, headstrong young fool in my life. Won't take advice, won't listen to reason, won't... Parker, come in here. Well, don't stand there knocking like an idiot. Open the door.
Well, I'm sorry, Dr. Gillespie.
Oh, Miss Verna, yes. Well, I was expecting someone else.
But you did send for me, didn't you?
Send for you? Well, Miss Verna, if I did, and at this point I am not quite certain, then you'd better just regard the whole thing as an unfortunate mistake.
We've got that taxi waiting downstairs, but Willie and I just had to run in and thank you before we left. Oh, now, honey. Oh, Dr. Gillespie, wouldn't you like to hold the baby for a minute?
Oh, yeah, surely, yes. Yeah. Well, Kildare, this young lady can thank you. I didn't have anything to do with it.
Well, I didn't have much to do with it either. Mainly it was just one of those natural occurrences.
Well, don't call it just one. As far as I'm concerned, it's going to be the only one.
Oh, I don't know, Willie. After all those books you read on the subject, you should be an authority by the next time.
Well, I guess I did kind of make a nuisance out of myself.
Oh, well, it's a funny thing, you know, but I've been around this hospital for 35 years, and I haven't seen an expectant father yet who didn't.
Oh, Willie, we've got to run. I'm not supposed to stand up too much, you know.
Okay, honey. Well, if either one of you ever get out in our part of Indiana, why, you drop in and see us.
Sure thing.
Surely, yes.
Goodbye.
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 Oh, my heavens, they forgot the baby. Hey, Willie!
Yeah?
Look.
Oh, the baby! Oh, thanks very much for holding him, Dr. Gillespie. Goodbye, thank you.
Goodbye. Well, now that that young maniac has departed safely with his baby, it's just barely possible we can settle down to normal business again.
And by normal business, I'll lay 5 to 1 that you mean those reports.
Well, yes. I think we better get them out of the way, Jimmy.
All right, I'll make them out now.
Good. Now, of course, you'll need some help. Mm-hmm. So I'll ring Molly Bird and ask her to assign somebody to...
Dr. Gillespie, you may as well hang up the phone.
Oh, what?
You're wasting your time, you know.
Well, I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, I do. You see, Miss Verner left early this morning on a 2-week vacation.
And now, once again, the story of Dr. Kildare, starring lew-ayres as Dr. Kildare and Lionel-Barrymore as Dr. Gillespie.
Oh, good morning, Dr. Kildare.
Good morning, Parker. Is Dr. Gillespie in?
Yes, he's there in his office. Just go right in.
Thank you. Come on, Diana.
Oh, Miss Verner, I heard you were back from your vacation. Did you have a nice time?
Oh, just marvelous.
Busy, Dr. Gillespie?
No, Jimmy, no. Come in.
I've got somebody with me. We want to show you something.
Oh, Miss Werner. Well, come in, both of you.
I told Dr. Kildare he should just tell you about it, but he insisted that I show you.
Show me? Well, I suppose that is the best idea.
Well, you see, I knew you'd never believe it just hearing about it. You'd go right on prescribing as usual.
Jimmy, I'm afraid
Show him, Diana.
See, Dr. Gillespie? On my left hand?
By the great horn spoon. Engaged.
That's right.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I'd given up hope. I didn't think you'd do it.
We didn't.
I decided you were just too cut. What did you say, Jimmy?
Brace yourself, Doctor.
What are you talking about?
I just wanted Diana to show you her ring so you'd stop prescribing her. She's engaged. She's going to be married next month. But not to me.
You have just heard the story of Dr. Kildare, starring lew-ayres and lionel-barrymore. This program was written by Les Crutchfield and directed by William P. Russo. Original music was composed and conducted by Walter Schumann. Supporting cast included Virginia Gregg, Ted Osborne, Bill Tracy, Sharon Douglas, and Georgia Ellis. Dick Joy speaking.
September 28, 1950, The Story of Dr. Kildare on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, an episode of the soap opera Claudia, September 28, 1948.
And now, Claudia.
Claudia, for heaven's sake, eat.
I'm eating, Mama.
You're not. You're walking over your food like a puppy dog.
That's a pretty thought for the breakfast table.
Your not eating isn't going to help David get home from the hospital faster.
If I thought it would, I'd starve myself.
Such devotion. Now eat, or you'll get peaked and thin, and then David will start worrying about you. Is that what you want?
That's the last thing I want. Feels strange, doesn't it, Mama, just having breakfast, us two?
Used to feel fine in the old days, but now it's a bit lonesome.
Habit. David's a habit. A wonderful, luxurious habit. I don't ever want to outgrow it.
You won't. David's not a man to be outgrown, just to be grown up to.
I hope Bobby's going to look like him.
If Bobby has any sense, he will.
He looked a lot better yesterday.
I didn't notice any great difference.
How could you? You didn't see him.
You talking about Bobby or David?
David, of course.
Oh, of course. I just happened to be talking about Bobby.
Oh, he doesn't look any different. But David does, thank goodness. His eyes weren't the least bit bloodshot yesterday afternoon.
Excellent, seeing it's only 6 days since the accident.
Only 6 days. It seems like 6 years.
You'll be home in just a few days more. Then your fun will begin.
Won't it?
A convalescent man in the house is a full-time job, believe me. You'll need all your strength. So eat your breakfast.
Mama, a person can't always eat when a person's got things on her mind.
Oh, a person can't a person?
No.
You just finished telling me David looked so much better.
Well, this is other things.
And what is other things? Pardon the curiosity.
The barn.
Oh.
It's not raining today.
So it isn't.
You know what that means? It means the workmen are going to really get to work on the barn.
I should think that would be cause for rejoicing. Yesterday you were complaining they couldn't work because it was raining. Today you're complaining they can because it isn't. You don't make sense.
Mama, I've got cold feet. I had time to think all day yesterday and, well, I ended up with cold feet.
Just shows what thinking can do. I warned you once, never think.
I wouldn't have to if David were home. It is quite a job supervising the rebuilding of a barn.
What about Fritz? He knows about barns. I thought he was going to supervise it.
Fritz knows about barns from the cow point of view, not from the building.
And you don't know about barns from any point of view.
Exactly. That's what's on my mind.
I see.
I called Mr. Paradiso yesterday. I thought since he was the contractor for the rebuilding of the house and David liked his work so much that he could sort of understudy him on the barn.
That was an excellent idea. What happened?
Nothing. He wasn't there. And he wasn't expected back. So I couldn't tell him, so here I am. All alone with a tribe of workmen on their way and a set of architect's plans to give them and nothing else.
No wonder you're not even eating breakfast. Why didn't you tell me all this? I wouldn't have eaten mine.
Are you an architect or a contractor, Mama?
Neither, but I'm your mother, and as such, it's my privilege to worry along with you.
I wonder who that is.
Oh, one of the workmen, no doubt.
Oh, dear.
You might as well answer.
Yep, I might as well. Mama, how did I get into this?
Simple. You're married.
Hello there.
Mr. Paradiso, it's you.
Anything the matter, Mrs. Norton?
Oh, no, I never was so glad to see anybody in my whole life.
Say, that's nice. I got a message you called. I figured you'd want to see me, so here I am.
Well, come in, come in.
House looks good.
And why shouldn't it? You build it. Practically.
Mrs. Norton, there's nothing I like better than a satisfied client.
Would you like to have a second cup of coffee, too?
Wouldn't mind if I did.
Well, fine. We can talk while we drink it. It's about the barn I wanted to see you.
So I figured. I heard you're rebuilding.
You see, David made all the arrangements before his accident, but still, I don't think I could go ahead with it all alone.
I'm pleased you called. I thought of coming over to lend you a hand with it, but I didn't want you to think that I was pushing my way in.
Well, thanks for the thought. I wish you had come. Mama, our troubles are over and my appetite's back. Here's Mr. Paradiso.
It is good to see you.
Well, the top of the morning to you, Mrs. Brown.
He got my message, and here he is.
We're very grateful. How have you been? The last we saw of you, you were jacking up the porch of our house.
Oh, I've been fine. How is Mr. Norton this morning?
Well, last time I spoke to him,
It was already the third time she called him this morning.
Love, love, love. It's in every joist in this house.
You ought to know. You put him up. Well, anyway, David said he's feeling much better.
Good news.
Oh, I'll say.
Coffee?
Fine.
Now, about the barn. You see, Mr. Paradiso, I sort of made myself responsible for fixing it up in David's absence, but, well, I have a little stage fright about having taken the horn by the bulls and deciding that, hospital or not, David's going to have his barn.
Mrs. Norton, now you have nothing to worry about, because Paradiso is on the job.
You said that once before about this house, remember?
And how did it turn out?
Wonderful. It's only about $5,000 more expensive than we'd planned. We were only able to move in 2 weeks later than we planned, and practically nothing's gone wrong except the plumbing and the electricity and the porch that caved in.
Claudia, enough.
Now, don't make it sound like that, Mrs. Norton.
Actually, we love the house, and we know you did a wonderful job with it, Mr. Paradiso. That's why, now that I have you, I feel safe going ahead with the barn alone, even without David. Oh, that's David now.
How do you know?
I recognize his ring.
I'm afraid he's just as bad as she is, Mr. Paradiso.
Hello, David.
The very same.
It's wonderful to hear your voice.
Been so long,
How you feeling?
The same as the last time you asked.
That's good.
What's good about it?
Well, last time I asked you, you were feeling good.
Oh, was I?
Oh, dope. Say, David, if you're not doing anything else, there's somebody here who'd like to talk to you.
All right, put her on.
Well, it's a he.
I will not listen to my son gurgle over the phone now. It's indecent.
Your son is not the only he in the world. Now, just a minute. Wait a minute. Mr. Paradiso, would you like to say hello to David?
I sure would like to. Is it okay for him?
A few words.
Hello there, Mr. Norton.
Hello? Oh, Paradiso, is that you?
Just who?
Well, good to talk to you. What are you doing at the house?
I thought you'd ask. I just come over to lend your wife a hand doing the barn.
Say, that's fine. That's fine. I wish I could be there with you.
Yep, I wish so, too. But pretty soon, fella.
Yeah. I don't think you'll have any trouble following the plans.
The plans you draw up, Mr. Norton, a baby could follow them.
And all of the stuff's ordered.
There won't be a thing for me to do but stand around and whistle. But if it's any help to you, I'll whistle.
Well, thanks. Thanks very much. It's nice to know you're there.
See you soon.
You bet. Say, tell Claudia to call me when she has a chance, will you?
I'll tell her.
So long.
So long. Well, he sure wishes he were here.
So do I.
Mrs. Norton, I know things are going to be a little tight with you, so it's all on the house.
It's all on the house?
Well, I'll supervise this work for you, but only as a get-well present for Mr. Norton.
Oh, well, I wouldn't think of it.
Don't. But it's all settled.
David will be furious.
I'll be furious if you don't let me do it. So, take your choice.
You certainly live up to your name, don't you? I wonder who that is.
Maybe it's one of the workmen.
Oh, I hope so.
Well, if everybody ain't up and bustling.
You're an early worm, Mr. Tucker.
That's a habit my pa got me into. Always the first up and around. Gives me a head start on to other folks.
Mr. Tucker, do you know Mr. Paradiso?
Good morning, Tucker.
Oh, sure, I know him. What's he doing here?
Well, you know we're doing some work on the barn.
Sure, that's what I'm over about. Thought I'd keep an eye on things for you.
Well, that's very sweet of you, but...
That's what I'm here for.
Yes.
You?
Yes.
What right do you got?
What right? Why, I'm the Nortons' contractor.
Well, you did your job on the house. You don't have to go looking for more.
I'm not looking for anything.
Much you ain't. Just see that you keep your nose clean.
Don't you worry about my nose.
And don't you go looking for ways to make a lot of money out of this here job or take advantage of this here young woman just because your husband's in the hospital.
Now, you see here, Tucker,
Really, Mr. Tucker, I don't think
Now, you hush up, young woman. I'm taking over. Watching out for you while you're kind of a widow. 'Cause these professionals like Paradiso here are always looking for ways to make a velvet penny.
Oh, one more word out of you and I...
Please,
You
listen
hush
to me.
up, I says. Now, you can supervise the job if you like, Mr. Paradiso, but I'm going to supervise you.
You're what?
There's not going to be any monkey shines around here, spending Mr. Norton's money like it were water and them things.
If it weren't for Mrs. Norton, I'd tell you a word or two, Mr.
Yes, I
Tucker.
think it's awfully sweet of you, Mr. Tucker,
That
but...
ain't sweet of me at all. I'm your neighbor, ain't I? I
Yes.
showed you this house, didn't I?
Yes.
I live just down the road from you, don't I?
Yes,
I'm older, a bit, ain't I? Well,
Yes.
it's my duty to
a
you.
little.
Of course, you don't have to let me do my duty if you think you could do better without me, but nope, I'm sticking by you. Women is helpless alone. They don't admit it, but yep, they sure are.
That is why I'm here, Tucker.
I don't trust you.
And I don't like you.
You don't have to.
I'm not going to have your nose sticking into my business.
It's stuck already. Young fella, you start reciting to me what you aim to do about supervising the building of the barn, and you better tell me square, too.
I don't think it's up to me to tell you anything, Mr. Tucker.
And I say it is. Why, I built more barns in my day, built them with my own two hands.
I can imagine what they were like.
Yep, more barns than you'll ever build if you keep on building barns till you went balmy.
You're balmy right now.
Now, I ain't saying that I suspect you, Paradiso, or distrusting you.
You better not.
I'm just keeping an eye open. I'm going up to the barn to see what you're building. Want to come with me? Then come along. Be back in a bit, Mrs. Norton.
Mrs. Norton, he means well, I know, but if he gets in my
I
hair...
wish I could tell him.
For your sake, I'll play along with him. But he'd better stay out of my way, or else I'm through.
Step lively, young man. Day's wearing on. Come on.
Mama! Oh, Mama!
I heard every word.
Every word.
Too many cooks.
Just a little while ago, I was worrying because I didn't have any.
Wonder why so many people feel they have to protect you.
Because I am a woman. Worse luck.
Lots of women are, and they don't get protected. You must be the clinging vine type.
No, they're not protecting me. They're protecting David from me because they're friends.
This morning, you have one too many friends.
So things are in a big mess again. They'll both get angry, and they'll leave me in the soup. You wait and see.
Till they do, come on in and eat your breakfast. You said your appetite had come back.
Oh, Mama. It did. It came back with Mr. Paradiso, and then it went away with Mr. Tucker. Oh, Mama, ain't life something?
I don't care how much time you have or what you plan to do with the time you save. You're likely to get impatient if you have to wait anywhere. Proprietors of beauty shops, department stores, and such spots, recognizing this American trait, have found a way to make waiting easier. They've installed Coca-Cola coolers. Now, when you have to wait for a package or a permanent, you can enjoy ice-cold Coke.
Oh,
and
say, Mr. King,
Yes, Mr. Paradiso.
what am I going to do about that Tucker?
I think things will work out.
Having Tucker around is like having a fly in my ear.
Well, be patient, Paradiso. And my word for it, as soon as he finds out that you're on the level, he'll leave you alone.
He'd better. These self-appointed guardians,
No, he means well.
Yeah, I suppose he does.
I hate to ask you, but be patient for Claudia's sake. She has a great deal on her mind.
Just how sick is Norton?
Well, that's what we'll find out tomorrow. Claudia and Dr. Barry are going to have a little talk.
I see. Well, I'll be around, but I hope Mr. Tucker won't. So long, Joe.
So long, Paradiso. As I was about to say, every day, Monday through Friday, Claudia comes to you transcribed with the best wishes of your friendly neighbor who bottles Coca-Cola. So listen again tomorrow at the same time. And now this is Joe King saying au revoir.
From September 28, 1948, Claudia here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Thank you so much for making us a part of your day. Would you thank this station and support their advertisers? It is their kindness and courtesy that allow us to be with you each and every time you roll around here on your favorite radio station. Now, if you miss a day, you don't have to miss a single show. All of our shows are available through classicradio.stream. That is classicradio.stream. Stream our shows on demand. Learn more about classic radio collecting. You can contact me there. You can find our social media links and links to other information, podcasts where you can download the shows, and the Buy Me a Copy link that helps us to acquire additional classic radio collections from collectors. Thank you for tuning in. Tell all your friends great radio shows are right here at this spot on the dial. Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on your favorite station.